Hello and welcome to the UUOP News Network, a weekly news bulletin featuring all the latest from Universal Studios. This news bulletin is produced in cooperation with the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast as part of the UUOP network. I'm your host Jeremy, and this week we have some interesting refurbishment news, an interesting update regarding Epic Universe, and of course, more Halloween Horror Nights. So let's jump right in. Let's begin with some news for Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Earlier this week, Universal announced that it would be closing one of its attractions down for a brief period of time. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket will be going down from August 21st through August 25th, with the attraction reopening to guests again on August 26th. At this time, all we know is that this is presumably for a standard refurbishment. In an odd piece of refurb news, Chief Wiggum and his police car have disappeared from the Springfield area of the park. We are unsure at this time what this reason is. In other news of refurbishment, a new location is now receiving some pavement reworking. Right in front of the Coke Freestyle building at the exit of Men in Black, work walls have gone up to do some pavement work. This is also a typical entrance for one of the sprung tent houses during Halloween Horror Nights. This is not the only location where renovations are being done, however, as pavement work is still underway across from the Mummy and on the side street next to Finnegan's, where the Blues Brothers can typically be found performing. Also, pavement work is still underway over in Islands at Marvel Superhero Island, across from the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. There is no set timeline for when all of this pavement work will be completed, but it certainly seems to be a priority park-wide. In other news, many eyes are watching Universal as construction is heavily underway for the new Epic Universe theme park. In recent weeks, we have seen lots of vertical construction for attractions and other facilities of sorts at the Epic Universe site. One of the facilities under construction is the new hotel that will be on the property, and things are beginning to look like guests may be able to stay at this hotel well before the rest of the park opens. Source-provided Real Capital Analytics data given to Orlando's Business Journal shows a 500-unit full-service hotel developed by Universal Studios to be completed by Q4 2023. So we could potentially see this hotel open to guests a full year before the theme park. There is no official opening date, but this is certainly a hopeful outlook for guests. As of the evening that we are recording this episode, we just received a report from our friends over at Inside Universal that on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, guests under the age of 18 must be accompanied by an adult after 9 p.m. unless they have a movie ticket or a hotel room key. This is likely in response to the recent incident that occurred in the Universal parking garage last week. The Summer Tribute Store, which has featured merchandise from classic Universal attractions such as Jaws, Back to the Future, and E.T., will officially close on August 7th, which is coincidentally the day we are releasing this episode. This is to make way for the HHN Tribute Store, which will open in just about 3 weeks on September 2nd for the kickoff opening night to Halloween Horror Nights 31. Universal Creative has been very sneaky by leaving what we presume to be hints and Easter eggs for what the new tribute store may be. We have also heard our host of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, Lee, speculate that this new tribute store could very well be a dilapidated version of the current tribute store, which would be very interesting as many of the hints point to an old theater. You can go listen to the most recent episode of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast to hear Lee talk a little bit about that. And speaking of Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights construction is continuing. Last week we saw Halloween Horror Nights construction continuing at Universal Studios Florida in several areas of the park. Well, this week has certainly been no exception, as we have had some serious construction work in the New York area of the park, which is rumored to be the Candy Mutant Scare Zone. We have seen several defining set pieces for the zone, such as a judge's booth, a crashed tractor, a cornfield, and all manner of things relating to a sort of county fair. We've even seen hints of pumpkins popping up and saw some covered pieces appear as well. Many people know that covered pieces that are covered by a tarp in these scare zones typically means gore. They're trying to hide the gore from everyday park goers until the lights go down and Halloween Horror Nights begins. Over on the other side of the park, we have also seen some more scare zone work happening. We've seen some lanterns go up in the trees of Central Park, and a lot of lighting trusses being set up as well. A lot of structures being built, but nothing defining at this point. Some are speculating that the lighting trusses and structure will be in the shape of a barn, and we will see a barn structure in this area of the park, which would be very fitting to the rumored theme for this scare zone, which is Scarecrow. Again, we have nothing official from Universal regarding either one of these scare zones. We are still waiting on official confirmation. In some more construction news, we are now seeing more work going on at the two sprung tent houses, which are rumored to be bugs eaten alive and descendants of destruction. Neither of the two houses have been confirmed by Universal, but as we said last week, a believed to be official t-shirt was leaked across the internet, and many believed it to have the official house names on it. But we have yet to receive any official word from Universal at this time. We do have another official announcement, however, from Universal Studios Florida regarding their Halloween Horror Nights event. Earlier this week, Universal announced that they would once again be giving resort guests a chance to get a little taste of Halloween Horror Nights at Cabana Bay Beach Resort with the all-new Universal Monsters Gallery of Legends. From September 2nd to October 31st, resort guests will have a chance to keep the screams going with a special Universal Monsters themed photo gallery and the spooky Swizzle Lounge at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Please remember that you must be a Universal Resort guest to gain access to these special offerings. Finally, in some more Halloween Horror Nights news, this week saw the release of several pieces of Halloween Horror Nights themed merchandise, including t-shirts, ornaments, cups, and hats. Some of the merch even included everyone's favorite little pumpkin from Halloween Horror Nights 30, Lil Boo, who some have speculated and hoped would be the icon for this year's event, and it's beginning to look like he may be taking that title, as many of the merchandise items were sold out within the first day of being placed out, with Universal moving very quickly to replace them, only for anything with Little Boo to get sold out yet again. He is a very popular character, so you want to make sure if you get a chance to get something with Little Boo on it, you get it quickly, because that merchandise will go fast. But that is going to do it for this week's news update from the UUOP News Network. Be sure to give us a like and comment and subscribe, and be sure to check out our main podcast, the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, which can be found anywhere you get your podcasts. Looking to book your next Universal trip? Go check out our friends at Portkey Vacation, run by one of the fabulous hosts of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, Michelle. Whether it be to Universal Studios or anywhere else in the world, she will take care of you. Check with her and she will set you up for success on your next vacation. If you want to get involved with UUOP, you can submit a Bow Pick a Bow Bow, our newest listener debate. Stay tuned to the end for instructions on how to get involved with that. Also, be sure to go check out our social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest. Simply search UUO Podcast. You can also learn about and join the Producers Club by emailing uuopproducers@gmail.com. Be sure to go check out our friends over at the Theme Park Duo podcast for all Universal Studios Hollywood and West Coast theme park related content. Once again, I want to thank Lee, Tracy, and the gang for allowing me to be a part of the UUOP family and bring you all this weekly news update. So thank you all again, and be sure to tune in next week on the UUOP News Network.